Well, hey there. So today we're going to talk about Lab 4. And as you can see, we're finally going to put everything together. And then we're going to make some modifications as we go. So first things first, do your lecture and discussion boards. And once you get to this guy, basically you're going to have a whole strange description, but more or less what you're going to do is take your existing design and you're going to basically go and put it all together and match it up to fit the design of reference 1 and 2. And I put them here as reference. Obviously, you already have the information. You're basically just finalizing and fitting up your piping to this skid. And then after you've done that, the reason I've got this in two parts is to make sure you've got your drawing correct before you make changes. But you're going to fit it up to make it look like reference 1 and 2, and then you're going to go in and put your tank on there. So in order to do that, you're going to match up the design of 3 and 4. So, it seems like you could almost skip doing this part, but if you do, you're probably going to end up with errors. So, make the consistent change. And then obviously, if you can see this is a different design anyways, you're really just going to copy the intent of this part, where you're mounting the tank itself in a structural format. Like this, basically. I attached both just for visual reference, but basically this will tell you what members you need, and you're going to mount it on there. And let's see, yeah, so you may have to change a few other members as well. Looking here, like the design with this skid is you've got these members that are pretty large, and then those same members are used down here as well. That way, you've got equal weight distribution. So you probably have to change those, and I'm not sure what else changes, for being honest. Probably these members here. But basically, you're going to want to go through and look at each structural member compared to what you got, and revamp yours as needed. And then once you're done, you can put the tank on there, and then as you see, you're going to need to make piping that connects to the piping you had here before. So, there may be some fit up involved here because you're trying to match, your tank connections to this. So obviously your tank connections have to be the same center to center here, or those center to centers have to match the center to center here. And you're given a PID again, but you can kind of visually tell from that. That's the only difference. You had this part before. Now you're adding in this piping assembly, and your valves, and your tank, and the structural in between. Other than that, you're going to basically make a full drawing for all of this. So, basically you're going to be recreating, this drawing right here, which was basically omitted before because you didn't have all the parts. But now that you've got it all together, you're going to have like a general assembly of this stuff. And actually, that's what I called it, a pump general assembly. But basically, it's going to have the piping assembly in it, and it's going to have the skid assembly in it and the tank assembly. You'll put them all together in this assembly, this assembly and drawing, and do some details for it, and make sure your details all match. It should be like that, but really it's going to kind of be a hybrid between reference 3 and reference 1, because really you've got this, but then you're going to have a little extra info here. So you can kind of use these two as a reference between the two, and make sure you've got these bolted connections in here. That's the one thing. It could be easy to miss because the position of the model, you really can't see it in any view. But obviously that saddle has slots, so those two members do as well. Other than that, I believe that's it. Let me double check everything. Also update your skid drawing. This is going to be an iterative approach. So like you're going to make changes, and I don't know. It may feel a little bit redundant at times, but that's often the case with drafting. There's going to be a lot of times where you model something up, you update the drawings, and then the engineer comes right back and says, "Hey, change it all." So I'm going to also have some not so fun parts like that. So just go ahead, update those drawings, and then submit all of that using Pack and Go. And as is customary, you have a DWF reviewing. So you should be able to reference it pretty well. And if you have any questions, just let me know.